So today we're going to be learning how to color our faces. So first of all, I'm going to have to draw my face. So you guys should be pros at drawing faces by now. It's just basically an oval. Everybody has a little bit different shaped chin. Sometimes you have a pointier chin. Sometimes you have a more rounded chin. Just depends. Your ears are in the middle of your head. Your neck needs to be big enough to support your head. And your shoulders that go out and that are wide enough to also support your head. Your eyes need to be in the middle of your head. I'm actually going to make these up a little bit higher. Eyes are in the middle of your head. It's basically a football, baseball, or soccer ball, baseball shape. The circles keep getting smaller. And then you have an eyelid on top. So making sure your eyes are both similar shapes. Keep going. And then you have eyebrows. And I actually don't draw in my eyebrows completely because I'll use my crayon to do that later. And I'm going to do the same thing with my nose and the same kind of thing with my mouth. And then I'm just going to kind of hint where I want this person's hair to be. And then maybe it's going to be fuzzy on the edges. Okay, so I have a basic concept of what my person's going to look like now. And you guys can actually see what it is. Now we're going to be using what are called multicultural crowns. And so it's a lot of different colors. And what you need to make sure is that you're using at least 3 different colors in your person. You need to be using a base tone, so a light base tone. If you notice, this paper is also a light base tone. And then you're going to have highlights and some shadows, and then you can use an additional pinkish color to make your cheeks look like you're actually alive. Pinkish or a red color. It's totally fine. So I'm going to start out with my darker, or my base shade. So I'm actually going to take this color crayon, and it's called just Tan. And I'm going to color most of my face this light color. So, and when I color, I want to make sure that I'm going with the curves of the person's face. So I'm going to curve on the cheeks, and I'm going to curve up and around the nose. And the reason I'm doing that is to make my person look that much more realistic, just based on how I'm coloring it. Round out the nose, curve, because a lot of times you can see this when you're done. So I'm just going to put this light base tone all over, even down onto my lips. And don't forget the top of your eyes, your ears, and also your neck. Just a reminder, your ears will be darker than your actual skin tone, and so will your neck. Notice how I'm turning my paper all around so that I can get a better angle and really make sure that I'm following the curves of what a person's body looks like. So I'm going to color in this whole thing. And again, this paper already has a pretty base tone going on. So there's my base tone right now. I'm going to refocus so you guys can see a little bit better. Maybe cut down on some of my exposure. There we go. Alright, so now I'm going to get a little bit darker. So I'm actually going to look at all the other crayons that I have. I'm going to get just a little bit darker. I'm not going to get super dark super quickly. So I'm going to take this color that's a little bit darker, and I know that I'm going to take this color later, make it even darker, and this white for a highlight. So I'm going to take my second of my 4 colors, and I'm going to make the edges darker. I'm not going to press very hard with this color, but I'm going to bring it in a good amount, again following the curves of a person's face. Going underneath. I know underneath where the chin happens and the lower lip, it's going to be darker. So I'm going to make that area darker. I know on the sides of the face. Notice again, I'm not pushing that hard, so it's not going to make it super, super dark. If I wanted to, I could push a little bit harder on the edges still. Make it even darker. On the edges of the nose, and notice I didn't draw that bridge of my nose because I'm actually coloring it in now. So coloring that, and then coloring this. I'm not going to go too far onto my cheeks, but I can do the bottoms of the cheek and under the nose and some of the edges of the lips. Okay, so I'm getting close to being done with this color. I'm going to darken in the creases of the eyes, a little bit underneath the eyebrows, and then especially under the hair, because hair definitely creates a shadow. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the face for that color. Now I'm going to make sure I definitely hit my ears, because we talked about how our ears are definitely darker. Push down a little bit harder to make those really look darker. And notice how I'm making the bottom edges, thinking that maybe this is outside, so the sunlight will be hitting down. And then, again, under the chin. And this, I am also going to press harder on than I had pressed on the face, because I really want to show that this is darker down here. And also following the curves of a person's actual body. Alright. Okay, so I have my two colors. So I used my brown or burnt sienna, and I used my tan color. So now to get even darker, and this is going to be my final darkest color. And I'm going to really hit it on the edges. Oops. And this color I'm just going to use to kind of do some really darkening up of certain areas. Right under the eye here, in the creases of the eye. Definitely in the ears, I will use this color a lot. And in the shadow underneath the neck. So I can really see, I can still see all the colors, but they're all starting to mix just a little bit together. Definitely hitting those ears with a darker color. Ears darker over here. Bridge of the nose, on the sides, under the chin, under the lip, in between the lips, because that can be really dark in there, right under the nose, nostril area, sides of the nose, and then sides of the nose on the face. So I'm really defining what that nose looks like on my person. I think that nose is a little bit droopy looking, so I'm going to fix that. Alright, just didn't do it on this side. But darker under the eyebrows, and don't forget to shade under the hair. Okay, so now I have 3 of my dark tones in my person's face, and if I think that it needs to be blended a little bit more, just like when you're painting, you can bring the colors in really lightly and have them almost start to mix. Okay, so just gonna see if any areas need some work. Okay, now I'm gonna add my pink, because I want my person to actually look alive. And you tend to have some pink in your cheeks. Even my boys have some pink in your cheek area. You sometimes have a little bit on the tip of your nose. Do a little bit there. A bit on your chin, and lightly on the forehead. So my person looks a little bit more alive now. And now I can come back with my white and I can do some highlights. So I'm going to go inside the eye. I'm going to color the inside of my eye white. And a highlight is wherever light is reflecting. So I have my eye, obviously. The very top of my nose is going to be a little bit shinier because it's closest to the sun. So I'm going to color that whiter. My forehead's going to have a little bit of a highlight on it as well. Lighten that up. We talked about how the sun would probably be on the top, so coming from this direction, so I can highlight my ears, tops of my lips. I still haven't colored those in yet. And then the top of my chin. Also, my cheeks will have a little bit of highlight because they stick kind of far out from your face. And then right under that portion of your eyebrows. So right now, the person's starting to look even more alive because you added some highlights. You might also have some highlights around your collarbone area you want to include, and that's totally fine. So this is going to be your basics on your skin tones. So when you also, if you're doing your lips, boys, you tend to have more purplish and more brownish in your lips, and girls, you tend to have more pink. So I can just take some of those colors and layer them back on top of each other to kind of define where my lips are going to be. And then I can go back and highlight them as well. Okay, so I can kind of define my lips there. If you have any other questions about how to actually color in your face, just let me know. Next I'm going to show you guys how to color in some hair.